Okay, so good evening, parents, and welcome to our U.C.O.P meeting on stress management for parents. My name is Rebecca Morales. I'm the Executive Director here at UISD Federal Programs. I want to thank you all for being with us here this evening. And of course, hopefully you enjoy today's presentation. I want to, first of all, before we get started, I want to thank all of these people. Like Ricky said, Ricky Rangel, he is our Safety and Crisis Manager for the school district. We were all here very early this morning getting everything ready for today, and everything was working perfect, but that happens with technology, right? We've been used to it for the past 2 years already. So anyway, I want to thank everybody that's here with us today to help put this presentation on for you all, from our ITV department to Mr. Rangel from our Department of Safety and Crisis Management. We have our translators for the district as well. Oh, I tend to talk very fast, I'm sorry. And then before I go ahead and pass it on to our presenters, I want to introduce our Director of Guidance and Counseling for the school district. Her name is Melissa Ramirez. Ms. Ramirez, can you stand up, please, to be recognized? And of course, I want to thank my awesome department. And if I could have my department was here with you signing in. They're in the other room. If you dropped off your children to do yoga and activities, they were greeting you at the front, providing our meals today. And they had all of these beautiful ideas to make tonight very special for you all. So we can give my department staff a very nice round of applause. They worked very hard getting everything ready for you all. And so without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and pass this on to our presenters. We have Ms. Carolina Pelham, our licensed professional counselor for the district, and Ms. Elizabeth Gardner. And I know that we have Ms. Xochitl Clares, who's also one of our new licensed professional counselors. And I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to them. And we hope that you enjoy the presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, good evening, parents. I know that most of you probably have been rushing to get here, so thank you so much for joining us. We hope that this presentation helps you on a daily basis, because I know we're working at schools and we see the levels of stress in the students, so I can just imagine how you're doing at home as well. My name is Elizabeth Gardner. I'm an LPC, a professional counselor, and I'm at Alexander High School. I also wanted to share with you all right now that I am a parent, I am a mother. I do have 4 beautiful boys, handsome boys. I do have twins, and they're 17, and I have an 18-year-old. So there was a point where they were all the same, pretty much the same age. So I survived that. So I understand not everything that you're going through, but somewhat of, because everybody is different, but some of what you go, what happens every day on a daily basis with parenting. And I'm going to let my partner introduce herself.
So hi guys, as they mentioned, my name is Carolina Pelham, and I am also a licensed professional counselor. I am currently servicing the students at United South High School, both main campus and 9th grade. And as Ms. Morales said, we just want to thank you guys for being here. We understand that you guys have a lot of things to do being parents, and probably had, work and then come over here. So we are very aware, and we want to just really say thank you for dedicating this time to us, making this time for us, and we hope to make it as entertaining in a way and as engaging as possible, just so that you guys don't hear us and we're like, oh, So we want to really, our goal was to make this as useful as possible. So hopefully you guys get something good out of it and something that you can implement, like Elizabeth said. Alrighty? So we're going to go ahead and start. So you guys feel free to eat, and I don't think it's something that you really have to pay attention to too much. You can be like, especially the first few slices, slides, not slices, sorry. So yeah, go ahead and eat if you want to. Okay, so are you stressed, right? So we have this little questionnaire here. You don't have to answer out loud. Do you often feel overwhelmed? Are you having difficulty sleeping? Do you get angry, frustrated, nervous, easily and often? Do you have a headache, stomach ache, body aches? Are you tired? Are you having a hard time relaxing? Do you eat too much, eat too little? Do you panic when you think of everything that you have to do? If you answered yes to some of these or to all of them, these are indicators that you're stressed out. And some of these kind of sounded like COVID, right? Like, but no. So what is stress? You've heard this a lot. Stress is the body's reaction to change, demands in difficult situations. It is part of an everyday life, but too much stress can have a negative impact on your life. So we have 3 different types of stress. Acute stress, which is kind of like, when you have a task and it gets a little bit difficult and you're kind of like, oh, I don't have time for this. Or, your children tell you like, oh, Mom, I have a project due tomorrow. And, it's 10 o'clock at night, right? And then we have episodic acute stress, which is kind of like when it's more frequent and it's kind of like an everyday. And then lastly, we have the chronic stress, which is a result of stressors that continue for a long period of time. And okay, let me make sure I'm not going too fast. Okay. So nearly half of all parents, 48%, said that their level of stress has increased compared from before the pandemic to now. It also affects numerous other systems within us, including the metabolism, the memory, the immune system. This is why, your doctor says you need to do self-care or take care of yourself. This is why as counselors, we try to stress it so much for the children, right? But right now, we want to let the parents know, hey, it is very important that you take care of yourself first, because if you don't take care of you, then who's going to take care of the rest of your family? Okay. So here are some of the, symptoms of acute stress. You have the pupil dilation. You feel your heart rate increase, perspiration, you feel hot, you start sweating. The heavy and fast breathing, you're starting to, right? Anxiety, emotional ups and downs. This is the poor sleep and poor concentration. So again, I'm just kind of going through these really fast, but we can go ahead and, talk about them a little bit more later and then email them if that's necessary, right? So these are the symptoms for acute stress. Now for episodic acute stress, this is where you start feeling your muscle aches. So you feel your shoulders, a lot of tension, poor concentration. This is when, people start repeating things over and over again and kind of like maybe your children, Mom, I told you, and then we tend to forget and because we have a lot of things going on. Feeling overwhelmed, not being able to cope or visualize the solution. Sometimes we get like narrow vision, right? We get like mental blocks. This is where we tend to snap a little bit more and become more irritable, more easily angered, migraines. Or it can even lead to hypertension. That's the high blood pressure. And this is where it starts to get really, really dangerous. Now, chronic stress, this is where like we start seeing more of a change in our body types. So you may gain weight. This is due to the stress eating. It can also be a result of hormone imbalances, a heightened level of adrenaline and cortisol. You may have insomnia, difficulty sleeping at night, panic attacks where you feel like, there's just a lot of anxiety and fear and you may even freeze. Feelings of helplessness where you feel like you're not able to do anything. You have many, many things to do and nothing gets done. Chronic headaches, and chronic headaches would be generally defined as more than 15 days in a month. And emotional fatigue. This is feeling tired most of the time, feeling like you're not getting any rest. You're constantly on the go, and nothing gets done. So this is when it starts to get really, really stressed out, and it can be very, very dangerous for your own health. So now, the point of me stressing out these things due to stress is so that, okay, become aware. What is going on with me? Am I getting more irritable? Am I snapping? Am I like, if I do too many things, do I feel like, oh my God, and I'm making more mistakes, things like that? That's a little bit of a warning sign for us to pause and kind of like, okay, I need to take care of me, right? So, not to scare you all, but I hope it does kind of become an eye-opener, right? So, okay, what's going on? Am I identifying with some of these things that I mentioned? And if so, what can we do about it? So again, I said the purpose of this when we were working on it was hoping for you guys to get something useful. So if you say, yes, ma'am, yes, Carolina, yes, Elizabeth, that's me right there, chronic, right? Okay, so what can we do now? Well, you've all heard the typical tips to relieve stress, right? We have like play with a pet, meditate, listen to music, exercise, take a nap. We all know these things, right? We're gonna go a little bit more into maybe some things that you don't hear of as often, and then Elizabeth is gonna take she's gonna explain to you the science behind some of these things.
And just real quick, I know most of you probably identify with like all of them, right? You're like, all of them fit, me. And I think now, as working parents, most of us work, we go through these things. It's just gonna keep on happening. There's not gonna be a day where we're just gonna magically, all our stressors are gonna disappear. They're gonna be there. And I don't know if you ever found yourselves sitting, like let's say you have a moment where you can just sit, but yet your mind is like, oh, I didn't put clothes to wash. Oh, you know what? Tomorrow I have to wake up early because I have to drop him off early for practice. Oh, you know what? So not even when we do have the time to rest, do we rest? So we need to keep that in mind, because if we do and we notice ourselves, just like right now, I noticed that I was talking a little bit fast. So just when we notice that is when we can control it, and we can start putting things into effect that can help us de-stress, which again can help us de-stress with our children. So that's kind of something. And just with a raise of hands, or you don't have to raise if you don't want to, how many people do something just for you? Not taking your kids to the movies, that doesn't count. Just something, one thing that you do for yourself. Have you done something for yourself this week? I don't think I have. I still have a couple of days. Yes. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. We want to do that. Go get a manicure. Do something. I watch a Netflix show while I'm getting my nails done, and I forget about everything. It's going to be there when we get back home. Don't worry. It'll be there. Our kids are going to be waiting. So, getting and taking time to acknowledge that and say, you know what, it's going to be Friday. Like, I hadn't realized. And I haven't done something just for me. And we need that so that we can keep giving to our children. And in a way, I did go to a conference of therapists. And we also talked about how important it is, as much as we care for our clients, we need to care for ourselves so that we can care for our clients. So if you're thinking of it like, no, because my son deserves all my attention 24/7, well, guess what? If you don't give yourselves those 30 minutes, that hour, you're not going to be able to be 100% for your child. So maybe if you flip it that way and think of like, in order for me to be a good mom, I need to take this time. I need to unplug. I need to do something that I want. And guess what? When you get home, you're going to miss your kids. You're going to be like, oh, I didn't see, versus like you're constantly on the go and you see them and you're like, oh, ¿y ahora qué? What is it now? There's sandwiches there, So it's really, really important that we keep track of that. So, go ahead.
Okay. So going back, we stress, right? Like it's very important to self-care, like Elizabeth said, so we can be the best versions of ourselves for our children, right? Because I don't know if it's happened to you guys, but you're on edge because you have either work, responsibilities, or like other things, right? And then your kid comes and like she says, you kind of snap, and then at night you're like, oh my God, the guilt sets in, right? And you're like, oh, I promise I'll be better tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes and that goes out the window, right? So if we're able to relax ourselves, take a moment to like, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go and spend money. It just means even if you want to, go ahead, right? But yes, treat yourself. But if you want to, go ahead. But if not, just take a moment. Listen to your favorite song. Reach out to someone. Talk to your best friend. Vent. Whatever that case may be. Just some time for yourself. And then you'll feel refreshed. And now you can be fully and mentally there for your children, not just physically. Because sometimes, I'm here, but my mind is at the list of all the duties I have to do and like what I have to do tomorrow and who I'm gonna see and blah, 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 right? And my child is there and then I'm like, oh yes, and then, I'm sorry, what? What did you say? Right? So again, so we can be present in this moment. So the following tips that we're gonna go over are evidence-based. You know, it says like statistics show that these things do work and you will feel a difference. So like reaching out to someone, call a family member, a friend, a counselor. Did you know that there's even a national parenting helpline that you can call to? Limit your exposure to negative thoughts and media. I don't know about you guys, but when COVID was first starting, it was on 24/7, and they were just reporting like, oh, someone else died. Oh, and now this, and now that, right? And it was overwhelming. So for our own sanity, you know what? Like for today, we're just not gonna listen to the news.
And also on that, I mean, how many good news do we see on the news? How many are good? Probably none. Probably none. Now, if we go a day or two a week without listening to the news, is it really going to matter? I'm guilty. I have not CNN, but Fox. I used to have both. And I need to take it off because I get the little alerts. This happened. Now this happened. And I mean, on top of it, I'm already working all day and then I'm getting all these little like bits of bad information. I mean, if it really matters, it'll get to you when it needs to get to you. We don't need to keep having that. That's something else that we add to the stuff that we already do. And start doing it. Just start noticing, like, you know what? I feel a little bit less stressed. And by doing all these things, at least try it. Try it for a week. You'll see. There is a difference.
Yes. And then also try to focus on the good. You know, sometimes we tend to be so like just sidetracked by all the negativity and all the bad, and then that's all you see. I'm guilty of going down rabbit holes, especially with the whole thing that was like about like kidnapping and children being like trying to take it away. And then like as females, you know, we gotta be aware all the time of like your surroundings, and someone might come and under your car and check. And it got to the point where like I was like, oh my God, how do we even live, right? So you know what? Like, no, for my own mental health, let me just not. What else? And then, yeah, focus on the good. You know, yes, there are a lot of bad people out there, but there's also so many good people. And if we just start, and maybe we don't see it, but then, okay, you be the difference. Be kind. Give a compliment. Make someone smile. And then how do you feel? You feel like, oh, okay. You know, appreciate it.
Qué guapa, Caro. Oye,
yes. And see, she smiled too. So budget more time to get things done. I know sometimes I'm super mega guilty of procrastinating because I say, oh, you know, I work better under pressure. That's BS, guys. We don't. So make time. If you know, or like, then I get mad at traffic, right? I'm like, oh my God, there's so much traffic. And mind you, I left like 15 minutes before because I heard a long time ago that you can get anywhere within the city within 15 minutes. So now I'm like, I'll get there. But no, we need to leave earlier. Make time for inspiration also, and you know, see the creativity, stop to smell the flowers, as they say, the roses. Spend more time outdoors. Now again, the sun helps us with the vitamin C, which is what we need in order to combat depression. So being outside, getting that fresh air, really good for us. The natural environment, it can reduce tension, anger, confusion, and depression.
Yes, no, just something on the sun. And again, we're talking about more practical stuff that we can do to feel better. So just the sun. If you look at people from London, how are they usually? If you see a video, I mean, I've never been there, maybe you'll have, but I haven't. But how do they seem? Depressed, like sad, like they're just like, you know, minding their own business. Aparte están pálidos. I mean, and not that has anything to do with it. But, you know, they're just like, they seem so like tired and like, but if you go to the Caribbean, I mean, even Mexico, right? How are they? Super jolly. Like super jolly and loud and like, hey, you know, and want to make friends with everybody and kind of like us. And that is because we're supposedly getting more sun, right? It's more sunny, it's warmer. So it does have an effect. So I have tried it, like whenever, even when I'm sick with a cold or something, and I've been in my room, I'm like, you know what, let me go outside, let me sit outside, even 5 minutes. It makes a difference. Like the warmth, even the warmth, it feels so good, and you actually start, it doesn't feel good. I see somebody saying no.
It's too hot in Laredo, right? It burns.
Well, okay, what? 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute. But sun is important. So, again, these are all practical things that help because it is evidence-based. So we know that for a fact, it helps us process vitamin D, which is good for our health. Okay.
And also, we don't even have to go to London. In upper states like Oregon and Seattle, where Seattle is a city, right? It's very cloudy and raining all the time. People are more likely to be diagnosed with depression than we are in places where we get more sunlight. In Alaska, the cases are really, really high because I don't know if you guys know, they go 6 months without seeing the sun. So again, and that's called seasonal depressional affect, I believe, seasonal depression. So there is a term for it.
So highest suicide rate in Alaska too.
Yes.
And then followed by Seattle.
So, okay, and then of course, getting out, exercising, right? Okay, and then we threw this slide in there to what can parents do also, because we want to try to encourage, a relationship within the family. A family that does things together, stays together, is happier together. So practice self-care 15 to 30 minutes throughout the day with your kids, to help your kids do the same, right? Because children learn by mimicking, by watching, by imitating. Taking a short walk together, watching a funny show, like a movie, staying connected with each other, with the family, building emotional resilience so you can support the needs of your children. And then this one is very important. I always recommend for when I was doing parenting sessions to try hosting a family device-free, like no phones, no electronics, especially when eating, at least when you're having dinner together. Don't. And make a game of it if possible, if you want. Like, okay, we're going to put all our phones in the middle, and the first phone to ring has to wash the dishes. Okay? Something like that, and then see, right? And try it out. Because I see now families like, we're all day together, ma'am. Like, yes, we watched a movie or we were eating together and everyone's on their phone, I see, and the other child and mom and the dad and no communication. So, and then this is also, if you play a board game, have a family night, you are more likely to get a lot more out of your child in terms of how their day went, what they did, who their friends are, than if you just, when they get home from school, mijito, how was your day today? What did you do? Fine, nothing. They never do anything in school, right? What did you learn? Nothing. Nah. Yes. So maybe, if you start playing a game or getting them engaged without you even having to ask, they'll be like, because we don't like the silence. We're not comfortable with silence. So they'll be like, and today, or like they'll laugh and like, it's because, I don't know, blah, 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 and said this, or made me laugh, or made a joke, or whatever, right? Or like, we ate, I don't know, and they'll start talking.
And just on that point of the us putting our phones down and getting them to do it. I know a lot of parents, having teenagers, it's hard, right? It's hard for them to put their phone down. And they'll get into an argument. And sometimes you're like, I don't even want to go there today. I have 1 hour left with them before we go to bed. I don't want to get into that confrontation with them. Well, guess what? If you leave it there and you start modeling it, soon after that, they're going to start doing it too. I've had this with my children where usually when I come home from work, I leave my phone right there when I get in my purse. And I go in and I start doing whatever I need to do, talking to them. I sit down and I eat. And whenever I say, hey, can you put your phone down for a bit? Put it there on the island. They'll be like, well, where's your phone? And I'm like, over there. I haven't gotten it since I got here. They're going to put it. Okay, so example. It doesn't mean that right tomorrow or tonight when you get home, you're like, I'm going to try it. Put your phone there. And then, it starts like a whole argument. Doesn't mean that right away. But the more that we model, the more that they will follow. So that's really, really important.
And this also works for partners, your spouses, or your significant other, right? I don't know if I'm the type of person that when I'm talking to someone, I want them to give me their full attention. That, to me, that means looking at me in the eyes as I'm talking. Because to me, if you're not looking at me, you're not listening. That's just me. So again, for my husband, we've had this talk where I'm like, okay, whenever we're gonna, be spending time together, talking together, I need you to put your phone down. And then at first, he would also get me with like, well, you're on your phone. And I was like, rats. That's true, I am, right? So now I started, okay, but I wasn't aware of it. Sometimes we need someone to tell us like, hey, well, look at your own behavior, your own actions. So I'm like, you know what, you're right. Let me start by making the difference. Put it down, and I'll be talking. And then after a while, I wouldn't get into the argument, that power struggle. I would just, if he wasn't looking at me or if he was looking at his phone, or just, you let me know when you're ready. And now he knows, and they learn. Husbands too, guys. Okay. All right, so without further ado, this is where we actually get to the fun stuff, the activities.
Yes, well, 5 minutes. And this is just 5 minutes, and I want you to see, and it's nothing like, I'm not a yoga or anything teacher, but I just wanted you to see how even 5 minutes, and this could be 2, can help you de-stress, right? It can really, really help you. So I just wanted to do 5 minutes. So we're going to play the 5 minutes, and then I'm just follow what I'm doing, what I'm saying, and if you can't do it, that's fine. Just do whatever you're able to do. And we can play it. Can we? Are we able to hear it? Okay. It's a pretty low, but we can hear it. We're all quiet. Okay. So I want you all to just put your face or your chin all the way in towards your chest. And while you're doing that, I want you to curve your back. So inwards, since you're sitting down, inwards, and just keep it there for another second. Now I want you to start stretching up slowly, slowly, slowly. And now your head or your face is looking at the ceiling, and you feel that stretch in your back. You hold there. Now again, we're gonna go back down, your chin to your chest, really slowly, really slowly. And you're paying attention to your breathing. Down to your chest, you're curving your back again. Now back up very slowly. Slowly, we're going back up again. We're looking at the ceiling. Our back curved. One last time, we're gonna go back in, chin to chest, curving our back all the way in. Feel that stretch on your neck as you go all the way down. Now one last time, we're gonna go back up, look towards the ceiling, feel that stretch. Okay, now we're going to, even that got me dizzy. Now we're gonna put our hat to our left side, and with our left hand, we're gonna push it as much as we can. We're gonna pull it. We're gonna pull it as much as we can towards our shoulder. You're just gonna keep it there for a couple of seconds. Now we let go slowly, back to the center. Now with our right hand, we're gonna grab the left side of our head and pull it slowly downward towards our shoulder. And we're just gonna keep it there a little bit more, feeling that stretch. Back to the center, one last time. Grab our left hand, right side of the head, back down. Always noticing our breathing. Back to the center. Again, towards our right side. Hand, pulling our head towards our shoulder. Keep it there a couple of seconds. Back to the center. Now we're gonna try to stretch. You are sitting as much as we can towards the right side. Stretch and just keep it there for a couple of seconds. Feeling that good stretch. Make sure we're breathing while we're doing this. Okay, now we're gonna go to our right side and stretch as much as you can, all the way. And just keep it there for a couple of seconds. Noticing your breathing. Now back to center. We don't have a lot of time, so just there. We can stop the video. But even then, how did that make you feel? Relaxed? Better?
And this was supposed to be 5 minutes, but I know we started the timer a little bit late.
But
so.
see, even that, did you notice her? Did you feel a little bit startled when she started talking? Right? Because I'm still talking like this, and you guys just came from a place where you're relaxed, where you're just noticing your breathing. You're probably feeling aches and pains in your neck because you haven't stretched that way in a while. But then to see how important it is also the way we talk. Okay, so a lot of times we want to receive a calm response, and we don't, and that's not to blame, but that's just to recognize that we need to center ourselves. And if that means that we need to step away, mijito, I'll come right back. There's nothing wrong with that. They can still stay, the problem's going to be there when the question's going to be there when you come back. And just go somewhere, the restroom sometimes is the only place sometimes that you can go. And maybe just be like, okay, let me just breathe. Let me even cry it out. I've done that. It de-stresses you. You should cry it out, and then you come out. You're even tired when you come out. You're
and
like, okay.
Hopefully you can go to the restroom alone. I have a little one that follows me everywhere. Or the hands under the door, mommy. Right,
it never goes away. I have 17-year-olds, and they still do that. So.
Go ahead.
Yes. And so what we eat, drink, and smell matters. Again, we're trying to do things that are basic, that are fast, but they're effective. Versus, let me go to a counselor, which we are awesome, by the way. Mm-hmm. But
highly recommend. We should all go to a counselor.
Yes, we're counselors to ourselves sometimes. But yes, it's really, really important. And I know you're seeing the chocolate. And hey, if it's once a month that you have to have that chocolate, you eat that. You eat that cake. You eat that cake. But how important it is what we surround ourselves with. Do we have mostly in our pantry junk food? Those are empty calories. Like, they're doing nothing for us. And we do need a daily dose of all types of vitamins to feel and be well. So that has a lot to do with water. One thing that I ask the students that come in all the time is, not other stuff, but like, have you been drinking water? Usually, no, ma'am. Mm-hmm. I never drink water. Like, never. I'm like, really? Yes. And how do you feel? Tired. I'm always tired. Well, they're not drinking water. That's where you usually get all your energy. You get it from the water. You need to keep hydrated. So that's really important. And what we smell as well, that is very, very important. It can put us in a bad mood, or it can put us in a good mood. So there is green tea over here. And of course, if I would have put like coffee or like Starbucks, it probably would be empty by now, right? Because we all love it. We love it too. We love coffee. But it's not good for us. It's not. I mean, a smaller doses, but usually we have more than 1 cup a day, right? Or we're beginning the day and we're already anxious because we have to do so many things that day that we're like, already our levels of stress are high. And then guess what we do? We have a big cup of coffee and add all that caffeine to our system. What is that going to do? It's going to increase our stress. So on top of that, yes, it does. It does have caffeine. So see, that's a good thing about it. That has caffeine, yet it has other things that it increases dopamine and serotonin. Regular caffeine and coffee does not do that. You don't drink coffee? Good, but you should drink green tea. So, yes, green tea increases dopamine and serotonin, and these are neurotransmitters in our brain that helps us feel good. They're the feel-good hormones. Neurotransmitters. So they can help reduce depression. They have a lot of antioxidants, which is awesome. So we don't look very old. We keep young forever. And it has also, and these sometimes I can't really spell, but a flavonoid called or something like that. But anyway, you can look it up. It helps protect our brain from oxidative damage, and it helps combat the negative effects that stress has on your body. Green tea also has L-theanine that has shown to be helpful in improving stress levels. So anyway, with all of this, what it basically means is that it's really good for us, and if we're gonna drink something, let's drink tea versus coffee. And I know the switch sometimes is hard, and it doesn't mean that you can't have Starbucks every here and there, but it does make an effect on how we feel. So if you're like, I don't know, if you do it, you'll see the difference. Now, green tea also helps lose weight. So that's another perk. Migraines. Wow, see? So something else that it can be helpful for. So, I'm sorry? There's a shortage. Don't stress us. We're going to cause a shortage.
Yes.
No, I think we'll be okay. I think we'll be okay.
So we went ahead and provided you guys with, for those of you that want to drink, some green tea to sample, and then again to just promote making those changes, small little changes, and see if you notice anything within yourself today, like within your levels.
So if anything, take a cup. There's sugar, so it doesn't taste, so you can get used to the taste. Now, every change takes adjusting. So the first day you're not gonna. Coca tampoco.
No. Toda la azúcar que tiene la coca.
Oh my goodness. Yes. No, of course. Coke. Pero, allá está. So, se las dejamos a ustedes.
And we also provided you a little, in your little bag, there should be a little
green tea. So if you want to try it at home too, but there's a lot of it here, so feel free to take
if you don't want to use sugar, because also sugar is one of those things that we should cut back on, right? Honey to sweeten it. And it's better for us.
Yeah, so now eating, again, that's something else. Now, if you have a big meal with a bunch of carbs that we usually do, how do you feel? Lethargic, tired. That's already a red flag that's like, okay, I shouldn't have eaten that, or I should have eaten less. So our body is awesome. It's wonderful. Like, it lets us know, but a lot of times because we're so stressed, we don't pay attention to it. And we just keep eating and eating. I've done that. I stress eat sometimes, and I have to be like, okay, you're not even hungry. Stop eating. Walk away of the chips. Let them be. So, but it has a lot of impact on the way we feel. Again, the vitamins. We did put a dark chocolate piece in your little baggies. So I'm going to ask you, if you want to right now, to take it out and maybe take a small bite or all of it. Up to you. But I want you to do something. I want you to savor it.
Smell it.
Smell it. You savor it. You think about it. Like, okay, it tastes a little bit different from the regular chocolate. You become very mindful when you're eating it. What does that do? It helps us be aware and eat less and actually enjoy eating. When was the last time you all enjoyed a meal? Like, really enjoyed it? They're like, ay, le pusieron mucho comino. All right. Yeah. I mean, when was the last time that we actually did that? It's not that often. I'm sorry? Right? That's usually what we do. Very good. We have a good example here. Muy bien. Pero los otros yo creo que se están apurando. Vámonos. Yes. So it's important to do that. Not only do our body process it better, but also we eat less,
which is full quicker.
We realize that we are, because we were full, but we just don't realize it because we're stuffing our mouths.
Or, if you're watching TV or watching a show while you eat, guess what? You're so focused over here that you're not paying attention, that your pancita saying like, hey, quit it, like, yeah, we're full. No, hay que echarle más because me serví, or I got it value size, so no podemos desperdiciar dinero, right? We can't waste that money.
Yes. So bananas, I mean, these are just another list of other things that we can eat. I mean, oatmeal, I I think we all know that's really good for us. Source of fiber. Bananas are really good. They have vitamin B6, which is one of the ones that gives us a lot of energy. So instead of taking all those pills, let's just eat them. Y serotonina. Yes, serotonin. So all these things that helps us. So that can also help us feel better. Smell. Now, inside your little baggie, you also have a little cotton ball. I want you all to get it.
Lavender.
And take a deep breath. I don't have one. I should have brought one. But take a deep breath. And then just let your air out. Then another deep breath. Now, in a study, it was found that odors presented without conscious awareness can modulate emotion and mood. So even 5 minutes to an unpleasant odor can put us in a negative mood. It can increase our anxiety. And 5 minutes of the same, but a good smell, can induce positive mood and calming. This is all tested. They've tested, they've noticed. I mean, we don't really need for people to test it because we know, right? But yes, it's been tested. So lavender has been shown to affect the parasympathetic nervous system. And this is the one where our body processes anxiety, heart rate, breathing rhythm, and hormone secretion. So this helps us restoring all our senses to our neutral state. So, I mean, we're just throwing these big words out there so that you know that it does work. It does work. It does. Just like if I talk, right, that makes you a little bit calmer. Then if I talk like this, it's kind of going to get you on the edge. So it's kind of the same thing.
Okay, so.
Okay, so now.
Well, do you want to talk about the stress ball? Do we also include it in there?
Yes, well, we also added a stress ball. So that I'm pretty sure that I saw some of you using it already. So we know that if we engage your body, our stress also lowers. Okay, I know that one's pretty hard. You're gonna build some muscle there. But yes, stress balls also help us. It engages something in our body that helps with that. But let's use all of these, not only, with ourselves, but with our kids. Like, a ver, huele esto. See if you... No, but it does make a change. I put little drops below the pillows, las almohadas. And it does, like, kids are like, it smells good, Mom. Like, so it does help. So let's use all these, like, super simple stuff to practice to help us. Not only the talking and hablando de la comadre to share all our drama and our chisme, that helps too. But all of these are also very simple stuff that we can do.
And again, small changes, right? Like just what makes you happy? Think about this. Like what makes you happy? And then make a commitment for this weekend to do at least one thing that makes you happy. And then, hopefully it's once a day. What makes me happy? Once a day, one thing.
And it's like, we say to everybody, we get people that want their anxiety to go, their depression to go, all of these things to do. And we can get a plan and we can be like, okay, this is, some of the things that maybe you can practice. But I always say, if you don't practice it, nothing's going to change. Mm-hmm. Don't expect things to change if you're not doing it. So that's really, really important. There's a lot of tools that we can have, but if we don't put them into practice, we're going to keep going like we are every day. Mm-hmm. So just be very mindful of that.
Yeah. Okay. So lastly, we have an activity. I know we passed out, or the beautiful, wonderful helpers passed out a water bottle. And then on your table, you should have some glue in a cup, some glitter, and then food coloring. Okay. So we want to do these sensory bottles, and this is something that you guys can use for yourselves or also with your children. One of the practices for this is very common to use it as a timeout source. So may I borrow it? So here we have the final product, right? And then, and then if you shake it, you'll notice that all the glitter is like, well, you can't see it because you're too far away, but you'll see your final product. It's all swirling around, and then you're going to put your child on timeout, have him or her look at this, and then as it settles, that's the time it takes for them to be in timeout. This is more implemented for the little ones. Or you can also
But even
use
for
it-
us, right? Even for us. Now, it's a point on timeouts. Time-ins instead of timeouts. Time-ins, that means that we can still see them. We don't want our child to feel that because they're doing something that we don't like, we're sending them away from us,
Abandoning them.
right? So sitting them next to us or close to us, maybe not next to us, but where we can see them maybe in the same room. And again, this can be for us. Like, okay, I'm super like mad right now or stressed. I'm gonna wait until it all settles.
Yes.
And then I'm gonna feel better, and then I can talk to my son.
Or also if your child is throwing a tantrum or they're dysregulated emotionally, like their emotions are just too much for them to handle at this moment. Hey, come over here. We're going to use the sensory bottle and let's watch it. And this is also really good. I read as a way to teach about anxiety. Right now, you know, your body is just feeling very anxious, overwhelmed, nervous, right? And then it's kind of like this. But as you become aware, and slow down, look what's happening to it, right? And you're breathing, and you can use it like that, like notice your breathing. First it was very like, and now we slow it down. And again, as you watch the glitter settle. Sí, espérame. And then you can, I put these pictures up here. Right now we provided these, what's it called, materials, but you can also do other things like little liguitas, right, for the hair. You can add sequins, see, right, sequins, the little glittery thingies at the end. You can add other little like Legos or something different. Okay, so here you have your materials. And then what we're gonna do is the water bottle should already be filled 3/4 of the way. We're gonna add clear glue. So go ahead and add the glue from your cup.
All that glue inside
All
the
of
bottle.
it?
All of it.
All of
All
it,
of it,
yes.
yes.
All
Yes,
the-
it looks like a lot. Not that one. The one in the cup. That one.
In the
that says
cup,
glue.
yes,
The
from the
clear
cup.
one. This one. All the way in.
Add the
You
glue
pour it.
to the water.
Yes, you pour it in there.
¿Le faltó una?
The glue?
No, water.
Yes.
Yes,
all,
all of
all
it.
of it. All of it. All of it. All of it.
Sí, todo, todo, todo. Yeah, okay. Now we're gonna add about half of the little bottle of glitter. The glitter, half.
You put
Okay.
it all. If you put it all,
That's
that's fine.
Let me know, yes, let me know if anyone is missing some. Yes. Ay, yes, ay, ay.
And if you want to share with somebody and do half and half of the glitter so it has more color, that's fine.
Yes, you can mix and match colors. Yeah. A ver si funcionó. Oh, no, it didn't. Sí, sí, sí. Okay. And then now add a few drops. So to get it this color, we added 3 drops of food coloring. And you also don't want to make it too dark because you want to make sure that you can see the glitter, okay? Ya le echó todo.
That's fine. That's
All
fine.
right. Bueno. Sí. So, okay. Yeah. ¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo está quedando? Now shake it, shake it. ¿Qué tal? Muy bien. Muy bien.
If you used all the glue, it should start looking like it's slowly moving, not just dropping down the bottle. It'll kind of look like
Shake
it's
it.
slowly
A ver
moving
si
into
usted
it. Oh,
Mezcla.
you have to shake it.
¿Qué pasó? Okay. Sí. No, se hizo.
And
no.
this is also an activity you can do with your kids. You all can make one at home.
No, mire. Mire, ¿me la permite, por favor? Miren, guys, para que vean que sí funciona, mire la de ella.
Qué bonito. Es que son 3 colores ahí.
Ándale.
3 colores. No, más
Y nada más 2 gotitas, ¿ves? Si puso atención.
por envidia. Vacíenlo todos. Yo lo. Por envidia.
Sí. ¿Qué tal? ¿Sí?
¿Cómo se te ocurre? Acuérdense de esto.
Sí, ¿verdad? ¿Por qué no prestan atención a los niños? No. Nosotros también. Hold on. Ya. Ok. Y por último, también tienen Gorilla Glue en sus mesas. No. Pónganle la tapita y luego apriétenla bien para que no se les vaya a salir o abrir. Ese se estira para arriba. Estírenla para arriba para abrirlo.
El Gorilla Glue.
La
En la
Gorilla
tapita.
Glue en la tapita, en la...
Para cuando se enrosque, quede el pegamento ahí y no se abra, no se tire el agua.
Para arriba. Open it up.
Nada más unas gotitas,
Sí.
unas gotitas.
No, ahí no, en la tapita,
En la orilla de la
Ahí,
tapita.
sí, si quiero. Sí, yes. Sí. Nada más que tiene que ir alrededor para que así se pesque aquí. O si quiere, échale por aquí.
Ok.
Sí. Así está. It's a little bit too dark. Oh. Okay. Yeah, do we wrap it up? Questions?
Well, I think everybody pretty much is done with the activity. So when you take it home, make sure you use this for yourselves first. I think we should do it first for ourselves. And recognizing our feelings too, that helps us, not only our child, but us, and say, you know what? Right now, I feel really frustrated. I just got home and I have a lot of stuff. But you know what? I'm going to take some time to calm down. I'm going to get this little bottle, and it can become a thing. And kids catch on to stuff. And they actually will get it and say, Mommy, you need to go get the bottle. Like, you know what? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And modeling that and maybe telling them. And so this can become something fun, you know? And wait, once the glitter settles down, then we can talk again. Okay?
And there's different ones that you can do. Like, for example, the one with the star, it's a glow in the dark. Then you can use, like, in different colors. You can add different materials inside to make it more, like, depending on what the needs may be, right? And yeah, just to make it more, like, look at it and visual and
If you're like
sensory.
Caro, you're going to go all the way like that. If you're like me, I'm going to get a bottle, put some glitter, and that's it. It works. It
Get
works.
the work done.
But yes, but those look very pretty.
Whoever's creative, all right? Alrighty, guys. So any questions that you have,
Now we're going to make space for any questions that you may have.
including online, right? Including
Also
que-
online, if there's some questions that we have.
questions? No questions?
Even the music that's on the background. Yes?
No.
To all the students. Yes. We're stationed at high schools. Yes.
Go ahead. ¿Cuántos consejeros hay por escuela?
Either more counseling.
Como nosotros. Hay nada más. Ahorita, como esta es una posición que apenas el distrito hizo o creó, ahorita nada más hay una consejera por cada high school que también da servicios a las middle schools y a los elementary schools. ¿Cómo le hacemos para atender todos los estudiantes que hay? Again, budgeting our time.
Un día a la vez.
Sí, sí. Ujú. Sí.
Sí, no, sí hay mucha demanda, sí se necesita, pero esa es una posición que acaba de empezar en el distrito, de ser consejeras profesionales en el ámbito de la salud mental. No había. Entonces estamos poquito a poquito tratando de ayudar lo más que podemos, y dentro de lo que hacemos, si hay algo que está pasando en la escuela con algún estudiante, es donde tratamos de asistir y también darle seguimiento a los días, en lo más que podemos, ¿verdad?
Y tratamos de, en lo que, porque sabemos que hay muchas, why am I talking Spanish? We know that there's a lot of demand and there's a long wait list, right? In other places like Pillar, like CAPS. So we try to come on in and provide that counseling for the students, because we don't want them to wait and then something happens in a crisis. We're trying to de-escalate the situation. So what we do is we kind of get creative. There's group sessions going on. The students know, like, okay, come to me on certain days, right? And then we'll, depending, again, we try to like be conscientious of the time, right? And how many students we have scheduled for that day. And then you're like, okay, let's get to it, and like, how can I help you best? Question?
Is there a counselor like for every campus?
Yes.
A school counselor, yes, yes. So we are providing the additional support because our poor counselors are so stretched thin and overwhelmed. So that's where we step in and be like, okay, utilize me to your best needs.
Yes, and I wanted to add on to what Ms. Pelham was saying and Ms. Gardner. Since this is a new position for the district, I was also brought in. I have not been in this role yet, but every child has a school counselor, okay? So if you do feel that your son or daughter needs that extra
Support.
attention or support, there are other resources aside from the LPCs that your counselor can help. So then they decide whether your son or daughter meets other criteria to be referred to the LPC, okay? But we do have other agencies that are supporting our different schools, and I'm not sure what schools they are, but that's why it is important that you have that communication with your school counselor and ask, is the school provided, what are the community services? And we usually do provide, I think all of us have like a resource list that we go to, and we give you a list, and these are the different agencies that we have in Laredo that service the community. Thank you.
Question?
You guys do go to, like, our parents do go to elementary school?
To the elementaries, we do have certain students that we're servicing at different elementary schools as well.
And how do you guys, do we have to talk to the counselor, like, for them to refer
Well, yes.
you guys?
Yes.
The first step would be to talk to your school counselor. That would be the first step. So talking to your school counselor, let them know what your needs are. That way they can get linked to the proper care. But always talking to school counselors. Again, they're there for you, so and for your child. So make sure that you do talk to them, let them know what your concern is, so that we can all help you in any way that we can.
Question? Go ahead. Go ahead.
Ok, una sugerencia, porque
Ujú.
podrían a los niños, a los muchachos, a los estudiantes, darles como ahorita que nos dieron 5 minutos de limpiarte todo del estrés, podrían hacerlo a los niños también en las escuelas, incrementar eso, 5 minutos al final de empezar la escuela, para que los niños se les baje el estrés, porque muchas veces salen los niños, las mamás en la mañana, levántate.
Sí.
¿Es verdad?
Sí, sí.
No, es que pues, en la mañana me pasó a mí, le grité a mi hija, ya levántate. Es lógico, ¿no?
Sí.
Sí, claro.
Sí.
Sí.
No es mentira,
Sí.
no es mentira. Esto en la mañana nos estresamos nosotros
Sí.
y los hijos también se van a estresar. Entonces, y que ya se les pasó el bus, que ya lo perdieron. Entonces, el niño llega, quieran o no, llegan así los niños.
Muy agitados.
Entonces, esa es sería una muy buena opción, no opción, sino una buena sugerencia que los pusieran a los niños 5 minutos, relájate, respira.
Y si tienen algo así, en su second block, desde high school hasta elementary, debe de haber en parte de la clase, al inicio de la clase, deben de haber una, Ms. Ramirez would be able to help me, the SEL, que se supone que deben de hacer, son 10 minutos donde las maestras hacen esto con los estudiantes para ayudarles a, aclara tu mente, ¿verdad? Be here in the present moment. Y enfócate en lo que vamos a hacer, and then kind of unos exercises sí son de relax, otros son de kind of like, okay, like shake it off, ¿verdad? Para que estén en su mejor estado físico, so they can do their best in school.
Sí,
Pero, sorry, go ahead. Pero sí, pregúntenle a sus hijos si están haciendo el SEL in their second block. Y si no, díganle a las consejeras so they can tell the counselor director.
sí, muy buena sugerencia y sí estamos tratando de implementar eso, pero aparte de eso también como mamá, especialmente con los adolescentes, para andar corriendo en la mañana, les quito los teléfonos a las 10 de la noche. Ya saben, déjenmelo ahí está afuerita, déjenme los teléfonos ahí. Pues ya, ¿qué van a hacer? Pues van a dormir, porque no tienen tele en el cuarto. O sea, ay,
I have a 10-year-old, like literally, según yo le quito la tablet, y en la mañana me doy cuenta de 1:30 in the morning, she was downloading stuff, and I'm like, the tablet was in my room. No, I don't know.
Disconnect the Wi-Fi.
¿a qué hora se metió? Sí, sí lo hacen, sí lo hacen.
Yes.
Y entonces a lo mejor desconectar el internet, o no
Yes,
sé.
the Wi-Fi.
Sí,
Aquí está, sí, ok, y va y lo pone, y yo por estar haciendo otras cosas, pues ya lo metí porque lo meten a mi cuarto. ¿A qué hora lo sacó?
no, son bien inteligentes, hoy que son bien inteligentes estos niños. Entonces, o sea, y ahora se levantan más temprano que yo. Ya me levanto yo y ya están muy sentados ahí abajo viendo algo y yo, ay, mira, tía, de que ándale, mamá, y yo, háganme el café, digo el té, el té
verde.
ay, me descubrí, pero sí, entonces es una rutina y claro que tenemos que implementarlo en las escuelas, es muy importante, pero también es bien importante también tenerlo en casa porque aquí nos ven todo el tiempo a nosotros, ¿verdad? Entonces somos los... I'm sorry? Oh, that's good. So he's reading, and that helps a lot. That calms them. That that's a very good suggestion to do AR in the morning, getting them to read, things like that. We're not going to get our kids to volunteer to leave their electronics. They're not going to volunteer. They're not going to like it.
And- Yeah, and then also going back to, like how things affect us, right? The phone, the tablet emits the blue light, which, gets our brains like having all these activities. So it's going to be harder for us to go to sleep. So kind of doing what she said, taking away the phone if possible. Si no, try a relaxation, like for 5 minutes, 10 minutes before we go to bed. Let's all just, slowly relax or put a yoga video, like a chair yoga, right? There's different things.
Y si no lo hacen, tan siquiera se ríen de nosotras, haciéndolo, ¿no?
and
Pero
it helps
sí.
them, relax and get ready for bed. Yes. 3
Tan
veces.
siquiera 1 o 2 horas antes de dormir es recomendado, hasta para nosotros, no checar. Por lo mismo de la luz, like she was mentioning, the light does affect our eyes and it's harder for us to sleep. Y a veces no les pasa que están soñando lo que pasó en algo que vimos en el
Facebook.
internet, en el Facebook o Instagram. I'm dreaming, I'm like, okay, I was looking that before I went to bed. So really important that we are very conscious of those things and yes, implementing them at school, but also implementing them at home. And you'll see how the kids are going to just dive into that. I have an 8, 9, how old is he? See, I have so many. 8-year-old, gonna be 9. And he doesn't want to go outside. He wants to be on the tablet all the time. And I'm like, no, go outside. And of course, he's making a fit. But once he's outside, he's happy. He's happy. He doesn't want to go back inside. And again, the next day will probably have the same struggle. But once they're outside, they're happy. And if you can engage with them, look, time is going to fly. And before we know it, our kids are going to be gone. And I've been dreading that with my 17-year-olds. They're going to be gone. And I'm going to say, you know what? I should have sat down and talked to them. And there's andar viendo la novela. And el Netflix. You know, like sitting down and actually having a conversation. Actually, like, oh, did you see the sky? Like, look, even that seems weird sometimes for us to be like looking at the sky because we never really pay attention to it, and we have beautiful sunsets. But we need to teach our kids to do the same, to be present, to be in the moment, to just look at the colors, and kids love it. They do, but they're just so used to this constant gratification that comes from a tablet, which now, you know, because of technology we use at school too, that get the little ping, right? Or the little, like, pop-up of something. And they're starting to like that. And when they don't have it, because looking at the sky is not going to get you something, a sound or something, they get bored and they don't want to do it. So, you know, being really attentive to
Any
it.
other questions?
Any other questions? Yes, sorry. I think there was one in the back. No? Yes? Y eso nos lo vamos a encontrar en todas partes. O sea, en las escuelas, afuera de las escuelas. O sea, que claro que
está bien.
lo decimos en las escuelas y lo empujamos lo más que... Pero siempre en la vida va a haber gente así. Entonces, a lo mejor usar eso para educar a nuestros hijos, a decirles, mira, mijito, vas a hacer lo mejor que puedas. Tú haz lo mejor que puedas. ¿Necesitas algo para yo también pedirle a la maestra? ¿Verdad? Muy bien. Sí, porque... Digo, sí tratamos de tener ese ambiente en las escuelas donde pues no sea muy estresante, pero como personas hasta hay días que yo también ando, ¿verdad?, bien estresada y a lo mejor se me sale algo. Entonces, usar esas cosas a lo mejor para ayudarle a nuestros hijos a decirles, ¿sabes qué? ¿Crees que tu maestra estaba estresada? ¿Cómo estaba? Andaba estresada. Híjole, sí, ¿verdad? Bueno, ¿qué puedes hacer tú? ¿Qué podemos hacer? No, pues yo también me estresé. Bueno, mira, vas a poner, y nosotros enseñarles a no estresarse cuando alguien más está estresado y no usar esas cosas, ¿verdad? Usarlo más como una enseñanza, ¿verdad?
Pero ¿qué pasa cuando la situación se vuelve como lo que ustedes explicaban al inicio, que es acute, progressive y mucho más fuerte?
Crónica.
¿Verdad? Crónica. Cuando ya los niños llegan y como que los comentarios de las maestras ya no nada más es una vez, sino ya es muy, muy, muy seguido. Eso afecta no nada más al niño, pero a la clase en general, ¿verdad? Y el ambiente no se hace pues sano para que el niño continúe un aprendizaje como que dice un ambiente sano, sino mejor lo bloquea y empieza ya a decaer los trabajos, la atención, etcétera. ¿Qué se puede hacer en este caso cuando el comportamiento de la maestra por el estrés, ¿verdad? Obviamente, como usted lo ha dicho, pues normal que también se estresen. ¿Qué se puede hacer cuando ya el estrés de la maestra es crónico?
Pues ir con los administradores de esa escuela, ir a hablar con ellos, con la consejera y decirle, mire, mi hijo está pasando por esto, ¿qué podemos hacer? Involucrar, porque a veces los administradores no saben lo que está pasando en cada clase. Tienen, ¿sí? No. Bueno, también pues, yes.
Sí.
Les recomiendo que si han hablado con la consejera, no hay sus hijos todavía les están haciendo esos comentarios y se están sintiendo de esa manera, que hablen con la directora de la escuela. Ok, so hagan cita, llamen a la escuela, hagan cita con la directora o subdirectora, subdirectores de la escuela para avisarles, ¿verdad?, lo que está pasando. Porque como dice Ms. Gardner, a veces son tantos estudiantes y no saben lo que pasa en cada salón con cada niño, ¿verdad? Así es que es importante que que hagan esa información, que la hagan saber, ¿verdad? A la dirección de la escuela.
Y el rol más importante como mamá es ser, no sé cómo se diga esta palabra, advocate por sus hijos.
Abogar por nuestros hijos.
Por sus hijos. So, si ya dijeron una vez y a lo mejor
no pasó nada, entonces
digan otra vez y como dijo Ms. Morales, take it up, higher up. Porque aún a los consejeros son 700 niños para 1 o 2 consejeras y ya. So.
Y no sé, última pregunta.
Yo nomás quería, bueno, primero que nada, agradecer que este tipo de conferencias, la verdad, que para todos muy padres, bastante, la verdad, tener conocimiento de todo esto. Y también mi pregunta es, las maestras que salen con el comenta cierto de que suele pasar que a veces las maestras están estresadas. ¿Hay algún tipo de asesoría para ellas, para que sepan manejar el estrés? Ustedes, a veces me estresan.
Sí, sí hay.
Y acá les pueden dar mejor información.
A mi compañera.
Yo todavía estoy de este lado como consejera escolar todavía, pero sí, ellas van a ser parte de este nuevo cambio. Siempre ha habido desarrollo para las maestras, porque constantemente tenemos que recordarnos también a nosotros mismos, porque somos humanas, que tener que paciencia y también enseñar a los niños a abogar por ellos. Un ejemplo les doy hoy. Tuve un niño que no quería venir a hablar conmigo porque le daba pena, entonces la mamá me habló, mire lo que está pasando, el niño está en un programa y no le están ayudando, nadie le hace caso, y al niño me dijo a mí, es que no le quiero decir nada a mi mamá y estoy bien estresado, no me gusta la clase y no le entiendo, y le digo, yo puedo mandarle un correo al maestro, yo me puedo ir a presentar ahí por ti, pero ¿sabes qué va a tener más valor? Que tú vayas y le digas al maestro, tiene unos 5 minutos para mí, aunque estés temblando y tengas mucha ansiedad, porque eso va a tener el maestro, sabes que está preocupado, le interesa. You know what, ma'am, you're right. Y ya se fue tranquilo, ¿verdad? Pero sí tenemos un desarrollo, respondiendo a tu pregunta, tenemos cada año de perdido, cada mes, professional development, desarrollo. Y al fin del año, al principio del año y constantemente, ¿verdad? Recordar que no somos perfectos, que sí cometemos errores y constantemente decir, este niño sí necesita ayuda, ¿verdad? Y siempre tratamos nuestro mejor posible, como dice ella, yo tengo 330 niños nada más para mí, pero sí hacemos lo mejor posible y siempre… si tienes una duda, dejar una llamada, un correo y pienso yo que a lo menos yo siempre regreso a llamadas, aunque sean a las 7:30, aunque no lo creas. Le hablé a un papá al último, ay, pensé que eran alguien más porque le digo, no, aquí estoy trabajando todavía, son las 7:30, aquí sigo trabajando, pero estamos para servirle y como no se quede con la duda, va y habla con un administrador. Okay.
Y por último, para agregar, lo más importante es darle las herramientas a los estudiantes, porque por más que queramos, muchas veces no podemos cambiar a la demás gente, ¿verdad? Aunque lo deseamos, si la gente no quiere cambiar, no va a cambiar. Les podemos dar todos los trainings que queramos a las maestras y les entra por uno y les sale por el otro, ¿verdad? En muchos casos. So, ¿cómo podemos ayudar a su hijo, al estudiante, a que cuando me digan algo, no me afecte que me ponga así? ¿Verdad? Que tenga de cierta manera thicker skin, que se le resbale, como dice, como que sea sartén de teflón, pero sí, para que no les impacte tanto. Okay.
¿No podrían conectar la emoción con el estrés?
Sí, claro que sí, claro que sí.
¿Dónde quedan ahí las emociones? Estamos estresados.
Pues están, casi siempre se van a estar asustados, ¿verdad? Están asustados porque en el momento del estrés, si el estrés está muy alto, se mete uno en sobrevivencia. Entonces ya uno no piensa racionalmente porque esa parte de nuestro cerebro, y puedo hablar mucho de esto, pero una parte del cerebro donde es cognitivo, donde procesamos los pensamientos y actuamos como debemos, ¿verdad? Porque lo pensamos, se cierra. Ese no está funcionando porque nuestro cuerpo por nuestros pensamientos piensa que estamos en peligro, que nos vamos… Muy bien, pues es algo que podemos considerar también, atraer, pero… Sí, pero
A ver acá.
le dio
Sí.
temor.
Sí.
Sí, sí. Entonces, cuando está estresado, eso es lo que más vemos, el miedo. Pero bueno, ya para cerrar, muchísimas
Acá hay
gracias.
más.
Pero going back to that, eso de las emociones y el estrés, yo lo experimento todos los días porque yo ya me digo que hay cuarta etapa de estrés. Más allá de lo que a mí me pasa es todos los días tengo ganas de llorar. O sea,
Sí.
es estar llorando todos los días porque estoy súper estresada y no me lo paso tan llorando.
Sí, y eso es lo que vamos a, que no, por el tiempo, ¿verdad? Que estaba un poquito limitado y empezamos tarde, no pudimos ir un poquito más en detalle ya cuando es crónico, porque es ahí donde, o sea, uno no ve la solución y siente que no importa lo que hago, no voy a poder. Y el cuerpo se siente overwhelmed y lo único que pues te puede aliviar de cierta manera es el llorar.
Una materia aquí. Podrían incrementar una clase de emocional para los niños, como lo hacen en otros países, de cómo el niño puede manejar sus emociones. Nada más una clase.
Bueno, eso es parte de lo que estaba comentando de Second Block, que deben de hacer el SEL, que es Social Emotional Learning, SEL. So pregunten a sus hijos, Second Block, ¿están haciendo SEL?
SEL.
Sí, nomás que yo no pude tomar, pero sí.
Sí, lo están haciendo en todas las escuelas con los estudiantes y están ofreciendo también en las diferentes escuelas sesiones para los padres también sobre eso.
Esa sesión yo no la sé tomar. Pero otra cosa, también como padres hay que reconocer qué tipo de hijos tenemos, porque también en mi caso todo el tiempo era la escuela, el centro de recreaciones y yo no conocía a mis hijos, en serio que no conocía a mis hijos. Y dije, pobre maestra, sinceramente, ¿cómo le hacen si el mío, yo ya estaba así, de que pon atención, cheque la maestra? O sea, sinceramente, y ahora que prepara
Sí.
Sí, se me hace que con la pandemia, como padres, ¿verdad? Vimos un lado diferente, ¿verdad? De nuestros hijos, viendo cómo es muy diferente cuando están en casa con los padres que cuando están en la escuela con los maestros y tuvieron la oportunidad ustedes como padres de ver que tanto se les requiere, ¿verdad? Que tanta atención y que tanto trabajo y esfuerzo que tienen que poner los estudiantes. O nos dio una perspectiva muy diferente, ¿verdad? Como padres. Parents, I want to thank you again. Your children, if you brought your children, they have been having a wonderful time doing yoga next door. So I'm sure they're going to show you some poses. Ask them to show you the yoga poses. They've been having a wonderful time next door. They already had dinner. They read some books. So thank you all again for coming. Now, on the topic of, since we're talking about stress today and we're talking about chronic stress and how, that can lead to depression and other situations, right, that may affect our health, we are actually planning to have a session. It's in March. We haven't been able to secure the date just yet, but we're planning to have it in March, and we'll be sending a flyer home with Dr. Poland, and it's about suicide and depression. So that will be for the parents. So be on the lookout for that, parents, because we will have an AM and a PM session. We're planning on having it here at the SAC, more than likely in the auditorium, but that's something else that we really need to be very mindful of, because if anything, this pandemic has taught us over the last 2 years is that we really have changed in so many ways, and our life is really not the same as it was before the pandemic, and so we really need to be very mindful of all of these things, and that is why we're really trying our best to offer you all of these opportunities so that we can get this information out and help you and help us at the same time, as educators and U.S. parents. So thank you again for being here. We really appreciate your attendance, and if we could give our licensed professional counselors, Ms. Pelham and Ms. Gardner, another round of applause for this awesome presentation, and take your goodies home with you. Please give us your feedback, and like you mentioned, we want to know what you want to hear more about. Now, we have been having these sessions, and they've been more and more about social, emotional, and mental health, because that is what you've been asking for. That's what we've been dealing with over the last 2 years, right? So we want your feedback, and we want to know what you want to hear more about. Those of you that were here at the last U.C.O.P meeting, we mentioned to you that we were working on opening up a family center. And we're about 75% complete. We're very excited. We're hoping that we'll be ready to open it up in March. God willing, we have a couple of things that we're ordering. You know that everything is in back order also because of COVID. So we've been waiting for a lot of things. But Ms. Amparo Lanese, who's over there in the back, is our family engagement administrator who's going to be at the center full time, as well as Ms. Marisol Gonzalez, who is our parent engagement facilitator. They will be there full time when we open, 8 to 5. We're going to have different hours when we have events, so we'll be open later because we're going to have a homework help center on certain days of the week. We're going to have an early childhood center there. We're going to have a clothing closet and a food pantry. So look out for this information. It's called Family Matters Resource Center, and so we're very excited about that. So be on the lookout for that, and we hope to see you all there. So before we close out, there is going to be one door prize given out for our parents that are attending virtually, so they're going to take care of that. And for those of you that are here in person, take a look at your tickets, saquen sus boletos, and let's choose our winners. We have 4 door prizes to give out here. I'm going to read the last 3 numbers, 809. 809. We have a winner over here on the right. Okay. 798. 798. Seven, 8, 2. 782 in the back. And we have one more. 819. 819. Parents, we hope you have a wonderful evening. One more announcement. Our last U.C.O.P, our last United Council of U.C.O.P meeting, thank you for the reminder, is going to be 5 de Mayo. So today you travel to Paris. Ahora vinieron a París. May the 5th, you're going to be traveling to Mexico. So be on the lookout for that one. That's probably going to be a lunch. Okay, so May the 5th, 5 de Mayo. One more thing, if you have your passports, don't forget, remember that this year our theme is travel, right? Be part of our journey. Here at United ISD, the future of the world is here at United. Take out your passports, please. They're going to come around and give you your stamp. Remember, at the end of the year, at every parent event you go to, get it stamped. Even at the schools, las escuelas también tienen. They have the stamp. So when you go, you say, I want my stamp. And at the end of the year, we're going to be giving out prizes for all of the parents who kept their passports and attended the different sessions. So thank you all once again. Those of you that left your children at the yoga session, you may pick them up as soon as you're ready. Have a wonderful evening, parents. Thank you so much.